For this particular project, it's really hard to get the light where you need it, get the camera in there, stay out of the way of the person who's doing the job. This vehicle started out with the spring and kind of that door detent pin had fallen out long ago, so we started with that spring out. But normally you'd have to use that spring compressor tool to squeeze that spring, get that spring out of there. And if you're just doing the door hinge pins, you wouldn't have to mess around with that big pin that we end up putting in there. But really, for the door hinge pins, it's a pretty straightforward job. I mean, it takes a helper to hold that door and a little bit of messing around with getting a rod or the right size extensions so you can get in there and tap certain things in and out. But the bushings come out pretty easy. The pins go in pretty easy. The little clips that slide over the pins, the new ones came with like something that looked like a really thin washer. That didn't seem to grab it near as well as the rectangular clips that probably came from the factory. So we ended up reusing the rectangular clips that came from the factory. 1999 Chevy Suburban K1500. Today we're going to replace the door hinge pins. Also the little spring and the pin that holds the door into the detents. So this door is in pretty bad shape. Go ahead and give it a wiggle. We're completely missing one bushing here. So there's a lot of wiggle in here and it doesn't want to shut right. Yeah, those bushings had been bad for so long, it was kind of eating into that pin. Didn't do it any favors right there either. Okay, the C-clamp idea didn't work. It seemed like the knurls on this pin were just too aggressive, so I took it over to the sander, lightly buffed the knurls off, was able to get a impact hammer underneath it, drove it right in. You could use a extension, drive it with a regular hammer. Finish up with a little clip on the top. We've got one door pin bushing that's completely missing. Note the bushings go in the door side of the hinge. Okay, so on the top, the bushings are in the piece that's connected to the body of the car. There's a small side of the pin which has a clip on it. So once you get the pin driven in, you'll have to put a clip on it to hold it in there. We've got a jack underneath the door to support it. Pry that little clip off. Oops. You're way over there.
Oh, you aren't?
Okay, that clip popped right off. Now we'll just drive that pin out with a punch or a screwdriver, whatever you got handy.
Or just pull it out.
Or just pull it out. There it is. Okay. So now we got some bushings.
You get the other.
That will drive them in. You'll have to pull both pins. That way you can back the door back out and expose those bushings. Then you can get the bushings pounded out and new ones pounded in. Then reinstall the pins. Now once both pins are out, you're going to need a helper to position and hold the door. You've got the support underneath it, but you need to keep it from just flopping and falling all over the place. Okay, the new bushings are in. Still wiggles a little bit, but boy, it sure lines up and closes a lot easier. Okay, so on the top, the bushings are in the piece that's connected to the body of the car. And on the bottom, the bushings are in the part that goes with the door. And we like these clips better than the little round ones that came with the new pins. Here's the spring on the door side.